What's going on, guys, and welcome back. Today I wanted to take a look at Silent Hill F on my PlayStation 5 Pro equivalent PC build with an 8-core Zen 2 Ryzen 3700X processor and the AMD RX 9060 XT 16GB GPU. Unlike the PlayStation 5 Pro's version of the game that has only one mode, which is the base PlayStation 5's quality mode, but at 60 FPS, on PC we'll have the ability to target many different types of output resolutions and settings, from 1440p all the way up to 4K. And having access to FSR 4 as well, we have a superior method of image reconstruction over PSSR. Now, according to Digital Foundry's video, the PlayStation 5 Pro runs the PlayStation 5's quality mode, which has a 1440p resolve, whereas the base PS5 uses TSR, though the PS5 Pro uses PSSR, and unfortunately PSSR does an inferior job over TSR in this game, resulting in softer overall image with flicker and noise, especially with ray tracing effects, and we've seen this in a few other Unreal Engine 5 games. Now, Digital Foundry finds the PC's high settings to be comparable to the quality mode. On PC, we actually can take the settings one step higher to very high and lumen from high to epic. And we're going to test all that. Starting off with 1440p then, just like the consoles are targeting, epic lumen lighting, epic lumen reflections, very high everything else, which is beyond what the consoles are targeting, with TAA. So this is native 1440p, by the way, something that the consoles aren't doing either. And it's not big surprise that the 9060 XT has a difficult time reaching 60, although it does get close here and there. Again, we are here stressing the 9060 XT by maxing all the settings out, not using any upscaling or any dynamic resolution or anything like that. And one thing that Digital Foundry said on their videos is that they believe that the game had been built around the PlayStation 5, and it makes sense. It's the most popular console, and they've done a pretty good job. I have to give it credit that the console does maintain a 60 FPS in its PS5 Pro enhanced mode. Pretty much most of the time. They did show some drops here and there, but for the most part it does pretty well. It's not a native 1440p on console like we are doing here right now, and it does use TSR on the base PS5 to reconstruct the image to 1440p and PSSR to do the same on the PS5 Pro, and we're not doing any of that here. Now, you could easily throw a 30 or 40 FPS lock and play the game this way at native resolution. Some people do like to play the games at 30 or 40 FPS to get the best image quality, and while that's not me, I can't fault people for playing the games the way that they want to play them. All things considered, though, we're not really getting any stuttering or any hitches or anything like that. For what it's worth, the frame time does appear smooth. However, let's go ahead and try to bring the settings down to the PC high. So that is dropping both lumen reflections and lighting from epic to high, and then all the other settings from very high to high, while still staying at native 1440p with TAA. And I don't know about you guys, and you can leave your comments down below to let me know, but I can't really notice much of a difference in image quality. To me, the game still looks really good. It still looks pretty similar to what it did before. However, we did gain a huge jump in performance. We are now at 60 plus FPS with some drops below here and there depending on where we're looking. But for the most part, in this open area in the game here, I would consider this a 60 FPS experience, right? With a VRR display, this would be a 60 FPS experience, and it still looks really good. And we've yet to use any upscaling, by the way, something that both the PS5 and the PS5 Pro are using to keep that 60 FPS with the 1440p target resolution that they're doing. For all the native resolution purists out there, it does appear that the 9060 XT is able to deliver a 1440p 60 FPS experience, although there could be other areas in the game I've yet to see that are more demanding than this big open area here. I've looked at many games comparing TAA with FSR 4. FSR 4, even while upscaling, tends to look better than native TAA, so it would be a missed opportunity to not use it, but hey, to each their own. Alright, so before we enable FSR 4, I'm going to go back to epic lumen reflections and lighting and max all the rest of the settings to very high with FSR 4 quality. Now here's a problem I had was I couldn't get FSR 4 to turn on with the Adrenaline driver. I'm on 25.9.1 by the way, so I had to use OptiScaler to force FSR 4, and believe me, it makes a pretty big difference from the FSR that's in the game. FSR 4 cleans everything right up. It makes the image extremely stable. It doesn't have any of the flickering and artifacting issues that the PS5 Pro has with PSSR in this game. As you can see, image is extremely stable. It looks really, really nice. And we have all the settings maxed out. Now, performance-wise, we're essentially back to where we were at native 1440p, but with the high settings. However, since we're using FSR 4 quality, we are now able to max everything out. So you're essentially getting the best image quality you can possibly get with maxed out graphical settings. And FSR 4 quality looks noticeably better, more stable, more consistent than native TAA, like it does in pretty much every other game. So really good job, really good showing here. Now, performance-wise, you can see that the frame time, there are areas where it will drop a little bit, which could be transitional areas. It does happen on the console as well, although it does tend to happen a little bit more here on PC from what I can tell. Although without the frame rate counter on the screen, most people probably wouldn't be able to tell. But overall, I mean, performance is really good. We are averaging 62 FPS with 50 FPS for 1% lows. That is really good. Now, as you can see, I've installed a mod that uncaps the cutscene frame rate, so it's not 30 anymore. And we also have the Ryzen 3700X being very capable. It's our desktop version of the Zen 2 8-core 16-thread. It's got a bit more L3 cache, runs at a bit of higher frequency than the consoles does. So we have the CPU headroom. We can go ahead and try to use a bit more aggressive upscaling while keeping image quality as good looking as possible and see what we can do. So we're just going to leave everything on epic and very high and drop FSR 4 from quality to performance. So yeah, we are upscaling from a lower resolution, 720p to be more exact, to 1440p, but guys, FSR 4 does a really good job. As you can see, the image looks really good. It does become a little bit softer than FSR 4 quality. I mean, it is 1440p after all. At 4K would be perfectly fine. I still think the image quality still looks really good. It does look better than PSSR, in my opinion. There is no noticeable flickering, and it's not nearly as soft as PSSR in this game from what I've seen. Now, as far as CPU wise, again, the 3700X does appear to do pretty well here. Problem is though that it does become CPU bound once it reaches near 90 FPS. That is why I've left all the settings up to epic, because if we were to drop the settings from epic lumen to high lumen and high everything else, as you can see in this test that I did, we do appear to be capped at around 90 FPS with GPU use dropping into the low 90s, indicating a CPU bound scenario. But I still think 3700X, for what it's worth, it's more than capable to deliver a 60 to 90 FPS experience with some variability in between depending on the areas. But yeah, overall solid experience. For the 9660, I would say that it's most definitely a match and delivers a better image quality than what the PS5 Pro can do for this game. Now that's 1440p, and 1440p is one thing, and 1440p is kind of what the 9060 XT was designed around. 4K is going to be a bit of a burden, whether it be the bus width size. It's not really designed for 4K, but that doesn't mean that we can't try. So let's go ahead and try, see what the 9060 XT can do at 4K in Silent Hill F. Now 4K is going to be no joke because it's a ton more pixels than 1440p. So we're going to start a bit compromised by dropping everything back to high with FSR performance. And at 4K, FSR performance looks excellent. FSR 4 that is. Although FSR 3 looks okay, FSR 4 does look noticeably better. As you can see, we're at around 60 FPS. Now it won't be able to maintain a lock 60, but it is a more or less a 60 FPS experience with the 9060 XT. Enemy encounters and scene transitions can sometimes be a trigger for drop in performance, and as you saw there, we did drop to the low 50s just for a very brief moment. For the most part, we went right back up to above 60 FPS. So yeah guys, I mean, I think the 9060 XT, I mean, even at 4K with FSR 4 performance, it does a really good job. I mean, you tell me how the image looks to me, it looks very stable, still very clean. Again, maybe a tiny bit softer than, say, FSR quality. Much more noticeably superior than PSSR, though, at 1440p. That's for sure. If you're the type of person that likes to max their graphical settings, like epic lumen, very high everything else at 4K with FSR quality, well, you're gonna have to use a faster GPU, like the 9070 XT, for example, which on the right, as you can see, it's like more than doubling the performance at times. So yeah, 4K is gonna be extremely demanding. Surprisingly though, the 9060 XT still remains very capable at 4K with some settings tweaks, which I think still holds up very well when compared to FSR quality at 4K. And again, like we saw, epic lumen to high lumen is not really a big difference. Now PC, you can actually shut lumen off completely and it doesn't look good at all. It actually looks pretty bad in my opinion. Clearly the game wasn't designed without lumen in mind. I mean, it's nice that they offered us the option, but it doesn't even improve performance turning it off, which is weird. But anyway, getting back to 4K, I do believe that setting a 60 FPS cap does give you a more fluid experience overall, and it can even improve with some stuttering sometimes in Unreal Engine 5 games. As for the 9060 XT versus PlayStation 5 Pro, I do believe that it offers a superior image quality in this game, even at 1440p, which is what the PS5 Pro is targeting in its enhanced mode, but additionally, we are able to even target 4K if we wanted to with the 9060 XT, which actually makes me wonder, if we had the choice to choose settings on the PlayStation 5 Pro, what could we do with the tools that are available? Could they target a 4K mode but with a more aggressive form of upscaling? Maybe not use PSSR and use TSR, which clearly it appears to be doing a superior job in image quality anyway if you're judging PS5's quality mode to PS5 Pro's quality mode. So that is weird that they didn't notice that, but I have a feeling they will probably update this because Digital Foundry pointed it out, but I still find these comparisons pretty interesting because the 9060 XT is a very accessible GPU. It can be found for around $350, $370, and you can put together a very good, very capable PC build, which, as you can see, it can provide a very good and superior gameplay experience. But what do you guys think? Leave a comment down below, let me know, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.